Hello, everyone. My name is Maria Fonseca, and I'm a QL associate here with the Quality of Life Grants Program. Thank you so much for joining us in this Expanded Impact Grants webinar. Um, Together with me today are Dan McNeil. He's the Director of Quality of Life Grants. Parul Patel, she is the Associate Grants Officer, and also Christopher Bontempo. He is the QL Coordinator. So we are going to go through these slides. We really wanted to present an expanded impact webinar to make sure that it fits your projects and that it's a good fit for what your organization is trying to do next. So I'm going to turn off my camera and we're going to go through these slides together. We're going to have if time permits, we're going to have a QOL. If we have some time, we can do some of those lives. But at the same time, please, you can turn on your closed caption. We have also an SAL interpreter. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat because that way everyone can see them and we can all benefit from any questions that some of the participants may have. As you
Excuse
know,
me, just one quick note. I think you mean the Q and A, not the chat.
yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Q&A. Thank you, Pearl.
Hmm.
As you know, the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation is dedicated to curing spinal cord injury by research and improving the quality of life of individuals and family impacted by paralysis. And that's our mission, which is today's care and tomorrow's cure. So a part of this today's care mission is the National Paralysis Research Center, of which the Quality of Life Grants is one of its programs. Today's Care also provides services for the newly injured, or even if you people have been living with disability or for some time. We have information specialists. We have advocacy and policy programs, peer support. We have resources and materials, and all these services are available at no charge to your organization, to your members. And it doesn't matter if you're a grantee or a past grantee, or if you're just applying this services. I just want to make sure that you know that it's available to anyone who needs them. Very important as the application tools that are needed to complete your application. I know, these are for prior grantees, but I'm sure you're familiar with, we have our grant applications and the guidelines. There is a link on the application that would take you directly to the guidelines, as well as the PPOR First Language Guide, the how to establish evaluation indicators. All of this is available in our website. You can, the address is there, or you can scan this QR code, and we definitely recommend that. I know that, again, you've been prior grantees, but that you go back and review these guidelines. Some things there haven't been. I know that one of the questions was, is the program has changed, has been many changes. There haven't been, but I think it's important always to go back and check the guidelines because certain things might have had some changes. For the expanded impact, we plan to award up to 4 awards. The maximum award is 100,000, and the project period is up to 24 months. The very important dates to remember is, as you know, the cycle has opened, that the proposals are due March 12, 11:59 Eastern time, and the system just closes at that time, so please be aware. The external review starts from March 24th to April, then the internal review that ends on May 26th. The grants are awarded by May 30th, and the grant period for expanded starts June 1st, 2026 through May 31st of 2028. And all these dates are also in your application and are on the website. Prior grantees, you must just remember that you must wait 1 year after the project close date and you receive that date in when your prior grant was closed, and that day is in that email. But if you have any questions, you can email us. This is only for current QL grantees. Anybody current QLP grantees, if you have a grant that is open right now, or it has been less than a year, you're not eligible to apply for expanded. And as always, the projects must be based in the United States. As you probably have used the system before, you know that all the applications have to be done in our grant portal, Founded. If you need any logging assistance, if the person who worked on it before is not with the organization anymore, if you need any information on how to log in back to Foundin, please send an email to QOL. It's really important that you include that EIN number. Just makes it a lot easier, and that way we can check if there's any duplicates or if anything has changed. But it's very important that makes it a lot easier for us if you send that EIN number. Just remember that it's just one application per cycle. If expanded impact is not a good fit for your project, this cycle also has a direct effect tier. Priority is offered in the fall. So for this cycle, there's expanded and direct effect. So, but you can only apply to one. And add to your email list qol@reeve.org, and also administrator@grantinterface.com. That's where a lot of our emails and notifications for the grant come from. That's our grant portal. And I know sometimes if it's blocked, you might miss some really important information. So if you can set that up, that would be great. So who can apply for this program? Again, previous QL grantees in good standing. If you successfully completed your prior project, if you demonstrated measurable impact, that the program was successful, and you're ready to scale or replicate the program in a larger scale. If you are, so since you're probably applying for requesting more than 25,000, you must provide a valid sam.gov number. If you had applied for more than 25 before, maybe it was a priority impact grant, maybe you have that number already, but if you don't have that number, it's very important that you include it. And if you don't have one, we urge you that to apply sometimes takes a little time to get the number. So it's very simple to apply for it. And again, you go to sam.gov and you can, and all the instructions are there. So what are expanded impact grants? They are designed for organizations that have already received a quality of life funding and can show that the project, which was successful, can make real and a measurable difference for people living with paralysis, as well as their family and caregivers. We're looking for grants that are meant to help us. We want these grants to help you successfully grow your program. If the project has proven that it works, then expanded impact funding can support scaling it up, reaching more people, expanding services, and increasing access in meaningful ways. And the goal is to take that, what's already effective, to something that worked, and make it more impactful by offering maybe sometimes to different areas, to adding certain services that were not included in the original grant. The grantees are encouraged to bring their programs to new settings or expand them locally, regionally, or even nationally. So what is important to take from here is that we want to see not more of the same. For example, if you have an adaptive program, sports with bike, it's not just getting more bikes. You have to get more bikes and maybe bring something else to the program, bring it to another city, to another county, to another state. Think about in terms of really scaling something that was successful. This is an example of a expanded grant that we had awarded. And for this particular case, they were able to get extra equipment for their loan closet, and they added two, can read it here. two track standards, and this was they were able to scale. They originally had one, now they requested two more, and now they can offer it. They partnered with different organizations, and now they can offer this program to other people that were not able to participate because it was restricted to a certain area. And now they have more tools and that are needed to navigate this, and ultimately like have more people, make it easier to participate. I just want to let you know
So
also. Uh,
one quick note. So with this particular grant, what this organization did is they expanded to a different geography and geographical locations. So they, in addition to additional loan closet equipment, they had other expenses included as well associated with this program.
Thank you. Um,
Mhm.
there's this in our website we always list all of our grantees, and we provide a description of the project. The link is here below, and you can go and if you have some questions or you want to get some ideas, you can see some of the programs that Expanded Impact has funded in the past. The expanded timeline is 24 months. And when you complete the timeline, just make sure that you account for the 24 months that the grant period, the grant is going to take place. And it's important that the funding requests are supported by documented project-related needs through adequate, planning. It's very important that you plan. I know sometimes it can be a little tricky because I know we're feeling, you're completing this application now, the project is going to start 4 or 5 months from now. But it's very important that when you are planning for your project line, that if there's something that has to be completed, there's permits that have to be obtained, that you have to make sure that whoever is providing your equipment is in place, that the project timeline and all the preparation that you need in order for it to be successful is in place. Um, and then as well as for your budget. Um, when you're completing the budget and the narrative, just remember this is different. Maybe if you had a direct effect before or a project that was 12 months, that we're talking about a 2-year project timeline. And we want to avoid any gaps in that timeline in the application. At something like, so we're doing this in January and there's nothing else in August, and there's no explanation of what's happening between those months. The funding requests are expected to reflect clearly what the goals are, the activities, the timelines, and the costs that are aligned with the project. And every project item and every request um, must be also detailed in your narrative. So if you're buying 2 chairs and what that's going to do, that make sure that it matches the narrative and what you're explaining what these costs are. So the narrative and the budget must match for a 2-year expense. Um,
And also regarding the budget, if you're using staffing, I know most organization budgets are based on an annual um, uh, basis. But please to include, if your salary is going to account for both years, you must include that. You must also include the total project costs. Sometimes you may have a project that's 300,000, but you're only asking for 100,000. Our expectation is to see the entire 300,000 itemized. I just wanted to clarify that. It has to be a 2-year budget. You cannot put, and there's no need to itemize year one, year two. You can have it all combined in one line.
I,
um, hmm?
I would add one other thing too, in terms of purchasing items, please make sure that the vendors that you are using are all based within the United States.
Thank you. Also, it's very important, again, like I mentioned, I know that, we know that things change, and, it is a lengthy timeline, but just really think about the items that you're requesting to be funded, because once the budget is approved, you can't bring in an expense that you had not originally requested. We are not considering or approving any reallocation of awarded funds until a project has been at least underway for at least 3 months. So it's important that that when you are planning your project and you're requesting your budget, that you're really available of what's allowable and how that is going to affect the project. This is when you're completing your budget, just remember, like, yeah, like Parul just mentioned, there's a column for the total project cost and for what you're requesting, and use whole numbers and follow the minimum, the maximums that's allowed for each tier. All of that is in the guidelines of what you can, especially for travel, what's allowed. That you include the total cost of the project, that download the template that is in the application. And again, for 24 months, please use that file. There's each section has a brief explanation of what is needed, and things that you can include or not include. So it's very important that you use that Excel. There might be out there, some of the other applications might have had an older version of that, but just whatever is in the application, just use that exec file. The same thing goes with the narrative. We just talked about it a little while ago, just describing each budget line and what is being requested. And if it's not applicable, then you can, of course, put NA, but the narrative really goes into very specific details of what we're looking for and what you need to put there. The vendor quotes, if the items or services are more than 10,000, we want to see a valid vendor quote within 3 months of submitting the application. I know that some part of the explanation says that you need 3 vendor quotes. You do not have to provide us with 3 vendor quotes. That's more for your files. It's a requirement if at any time your organization is audited for these federally funded loans. So this is the extra vendor quotes are for you. You don't have to submit it for us. As always, no sales taxes included. Like Dan mentioned, make sure that it's a vendor that is here in the United States. And for equipment, just include the cost and the shipping and any delivery expenses. You can just report that all in one line.
Just also to make sure, more often than not, folks come to revise the budget because the items come in less than what was proposed by the vendor. I ask that you, to avoid any administrative revisions based on discounts, confirm the pricing with the vendors to make sure that there's no unnecessary budget revisions that might need to occur later on.
Thank you. And also I think it makes sure that the vendor quotes when they're submitted, that they're made out to the organization. I know in the past sometimes we've had some issues where the vendor quote is made to a different organization that the one is submitting the application. So just make sure that the vendor quote is addressed to the organization that is requesting the grants. Part of the requirements for accepting the grants are follow-ups, and Expanded Impact has 4 follow-ups, a check-in at 6 months, an interim at 12, a check-in at 18, and final at 25 months after the grant has closed. You would get a notification through, if you're awarded and you are, the follow-ups are due, you always get a notification from Fountain to let you know that the follow-ups are due. The awards are the way that we notified the grantees that have been awarded. It's through an email through Fountain, and after that, you will be assigned an intent to accept. You will receive instructions when the grant agreement is available. It's going to be available on your dashboard, and you download it, review and sign it, and you upload it back again. Now, a new way that we are issuing our payments the payments are completed using bill.com, and you'll receive if awarded, then you'll receive instructions on how to set that up. We also, after you probably, being prior grantees, that we will send you information on press templates and how to publicize your grant. And like I mentioned before, we always encourage you to utilize all the resources that are provided by the National Paralysis Resource Center. So we received some questions from participants to the webinar that had when you signed up for the webinar. And we wanted to share some of these questions with you, and then we can maybe, if there's any questions still in the Q&A, we can discuss this. But some of the questions might apply, and we wanted just to take a little time and discuss them here. Are there any significant changes to the QOL program? No. We do have revised the budget template. The indirect cost is now 15%. It used to be 10. And again, all these guidelines and what's allowable for travel, it's all on the guidelines, which are in the application and are online. Is there a time frame from when the quality of life grant was received to be able to apply? Approximately 5 years. We are this is a continuation of a project that you had already completed. This is not for pilot programs. This is not for something new that you've never done. This is just a continuation of a successful project, and hopefully it's something that has continued for the last 5 years, and now you're ready to expand it. We have received more than one Reeve grant. Can we do an expanded impact program that combines some of the best results from our previous grants? No, unless they are for the similar work in the same project type. So if it's transportation, if it's accessible sports, it has to be the same project type of the previously awarded grant. The other questions that we have is that if we're combining an approach that supports, let's say, for example, direct transportation for pediatric patients with a provider-facing medical advocacy and referral platform to address barriers early in care with this successful model. No, this combined approach of its own doesn't qualify unless it's intended to build on previously funded activities again. So it's very important that you ask the question, what project were you previously funded for? And that's the project that you need to expand. If you were awarded, you were awarded from July of 21 to now, can you apply for this? Yes, it's a different tier, so you do not have to apply. Wait for that 5-year period. So yeah, you're eligible to apply for this cycle. Just want to, again, this cycle offers expanded and direct effect. If expanded is not a good match, you can do direct effect. The second cycle, that opens in August of 2026. That is going to be direct effect and priority. And there, of course, there's going to be a webinar tomorrow for direct effect, and there'll be a webinar for on the next cycle as well. And we cannot give you specific feedbacks, as it doesn't, if it doesn't apply to the guidelines. We're unable to comment or why something was approved or denied. We can discuss the guidelines which are available to you, because we don't want to give any unfair advantage to any of the applicants. And we have a statement of objectivity on the website. We also ask you that you complete the survey regarding this webinar and the application process. This is a great tool for us. We really want to, always continue to improve the process, continue to improve the webinars, the application process, and just to make it as easy as possible for everyone to be able to submit, the best application for their project. Well, thank you so much. Again, this was just for expanded. I know that, of course, all of you have applied in the past, but if you have any questions, you can always, that's my email, or you can send it to qol@reeve.org. And we'll be, answer any questions that you might have. I don't know if there's any questions out there that the rest of the team wants to bring up?
We just received it.
Yeah, there's one. If we are looking to expand the project nationally, will travel costs be covered? Yes, they would be.
Or if anybody else, any of the participants have a question that you want to discuss, you can always put it in the QA at this time.
I did notice one about the regional.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a regional, is that what you mean by expanded? So if the previously approved grant was for a regional program, and now you want to expand on that regional, then yes, that would qualify.
I think would a QOL project awarded 8 years ago be considered? Let's see.
Unfortunately, our minimum is 5 years, preferably 3, only because the base program that was awarded has gone through so much time in between that a lot can happen, and we're not able to gauge that to truly identify the new application as the expanded program.
We just got another question. If the project serves all types of people with disabilities, do we need to show how it's helping primarily those with spinal cord injury and paralysis? And the answer is yes. We have a minimum requirement of at least 5 individuals living with paralysis.
Okay. All right, I don't think we have any open questions. I don't know if anybody else from the team has something that they would like to add. Okay, so again, please, send us your questions if you have any that we can assist you with, and we look forward to receiving your applications. Thank you.